Here are the directions for Topic 12, Lesson 1. This lesson is over equal and unequal parts. I am going to walk you through guided practice here on this page, and then I will read you the directions for independent practice as well as the back page. Let's take a look at guided practice. Number 1. The example has been done for you. It says, write the number of parts. Circle equal or unequal. And as you can see, they drew four equal parts, okay? And they are equal. So they circled equal and put 4 for 4 equal parts. Okay? Let's look at number 2. Number 2 is a circle, and I'm going to trace the lines that they have drawn there on the circle, and you can see there are 4 parts to that circle. Are they equal, unequal parts? And by looking at that circle, I can tell that they are equal. If it were a pizza and you cut it into 4 parts as shown here, it looks like each part is the same size, which would make it equal. And as I said before, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Okay? Moving on to number 3. Number 3, trace the lines that they have provided there for you and think, are those equal or unequal parts? And by looking at that, if that were a loaf of bread and you were to cut it in slices, it looks to me like the middle slice here is a little bit bigger than the other slices on the other side. So I am going to say that this would be unequal. And I again have to count the parts. There's 1, 2, 3 parts. So I would put a 3 there. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. I'm going to draw the line down the middle. And as you can see, there are 2 parts. 1, 2. So I would put a 2 here. And they are equal. They are the same size. Okay. Moving on to number 3. Do you understand? Does this picture show thirds? Why or why not? Now, as I was looking at this math paper earlier today, I was looking at the top of the paper here, the visual learning bridge that they put on your math paper for you. And here's where they talk about thirds. They are showing you here in this picture, where I'm drawing on, 3 equal parts, which would be thirds. But then when you look at the next triangle over here, they drew it 2 lines there. There are 3 parts, but are they equal? Doesn't look like it to me. They are not equal. So with that information, I am going to look at number, do you understand? And I'm going to think, is this picture show thirds? Why or why not? Okay? Think really hard on if that picture would show thirds. Well, there is 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. So, yes, it shows thirds, but are they equal parts? No. Okay? So you will use the space provided to write your answer of what you think if it shows 3 parts. But remember, are they equal parts? And in order to show thirds, they need to be equal. Okay? So think about what you would put for your answer, and I want you to use your own words to answer that question if that circle shows 3 equal parts divided into thirds, okay? Alright, moving on to the it says independent practice. So on your own, you are going to draw a line or lines to show equal parts. Okay? So number 5 is a circle, and they want you to divide that circle into halves. Think about what we talked about earlier in this lesson through the visual learning bridge as well as the front of the math paper, and think about how would you draw a line on that circle to show halves. Okay? Number 6 says thirds. How would you draw lines on that square to show 3 equal parts? Number 7 says fourths. Number 8 says the word halves again. Number 9 says the word thirds. And number 10 says the word fourth. Remember, when you are drawing lines in these shapes to show the parts, they have to be equal. Okay? That means the same size. And if you're unsure, you can always look at this picture up here, and they will show you some ideas of drawing lines in a shape to show 4 equal parts, fourths. Okay? And then the visual learning bridge that is on the previous page will show you halves and thirds, in case you are wondering. Okay, looking at the spatial thinking down here at the bottom on number 11, it says draw what comes next. So think about if this shape here is divided in halves, there's 2 pieces. Okay, then this square is divided into thirds, which makes 3 pieces. This square is divided into fourths, which gives you 4 pieces. This one gives you halves again, okay. This shape gives you thirds. This shape gives you fourths. They want to know what would come next, and you will have to draw that on your own, okay? All right, moving on to the back. On the back, on number 12, it says, draw lines in this picture, then answer the question. 4 friends want to share a watermelon. How could they cut the watermelon so each friend gets an equal part? So here's your watermelon. Where are you going to slice that watermelon to give each friend an equal part? Okay. What are you going to cut it into? Halves, thirds, fourths? You will have to draw the lines and then put right here how many pieces you cut it into. Number 13. Leon split a sandwich into halves. Which picture shows how he could split the sandwich? Okay. And then on journal, it says draw and label 3 pictures to show halves, thirds, and fourths. Write a sentence to describe each picture. So for example, it says draw and label 3 pictures. So you could draw 3 squares if you wanted to. 1, 2, 3. Show halves, thirds, and fourths. So in my first picture, you could draw halves. My second picture could be thirds. And my last picture could be fourths. Okay? And then what you could write down here, it says write a sentence to describe each picture. You could put on the first line, number 1, I drew, and again, my stylus is a little bit bigger than how your pencil would write on your paper, so mine's going to be on the lines a little bit differently than you would write. I drew halves. Whoops, let me erase that. I drew halves in the square. Okay, and then you could put number 2, I drew thirds in the square. Number 3, I drew fourths in the square. Okay, when you are finished, please put this paper on the yellow table and I will look it over to see how you did. And if there is any time left over before going to recess, you may do front row or Geoboard. Thank you.